actually. Have you joined onto the Zoom call? Yes, because I think whatever is picked up from that and this mic will be used on that Zoom, right? Because it'll be better audio and quality. Because that's what we did last week. YouTube, okay. So we'll give them a minute to figure it out. So ideally, what I was hoping, maybe we can still continue this if you want to do it offline this week, is all of those topics. I wanted like two pairs of each teachers between you two. Yes, I heard something. Okay. But there'll be a delay. I'm asking the AV team here to join in so that you can look at the Zoom directly, so there's no time delay. Yes.
Yes, we're good. It's good. We have the broadcast and the Zoom.
Okay. And you might need to unmute from that computer. Yes. Okay. So I will keep the speaker on this quiet when I'm speaking, otherwise there'll be an echo. And then when Chitrakoot wants to speak, there's no audio. Hariom? How about now? Hariom? Yeah, this is Mike. The speaker is on. Hariom? 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 Yeah, that's much better, right? Okay. Can Chitrakoot side hear me? Okay. Sorry,
and we can see you.
Okay. Cool. It's gonna be fun. I'm sorry, we're trying to figure out a couple of these things. All right, so here's what I would like us to do first. We will do opening prayers, and then we will start. I would like Chitrakoot to go first and be able to present. When you're presenting, please come close to the device. I think Vasaviji, your phone, if they can hold it up and speak into the phone, we'll be able to hear them well. So Chitrakoot will go first, and then we'll have Saket teachers present. And then we'll see how much time we have left, and we can handle any questions or discussions. Does that sound good? Do I have a thumbs up from Chitrakoot side? Yes? Okay. Cool. So with that, we'll do opening prayers. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha. Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Saraswati Namastobhyam Varade Kamarupini. Vidyarambham karishyami siddhir bhavatu me sada. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha. Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. All right. So as we had seen, the exercise for today is that we want to see the application of sadhana to an individual. The key in this chapter was we learn a little bit and we apply a little bit. So baby steps. So when we had seen the definition of religion, it was two wings. One is the philosophy side and one is the ritualistic side. Both have to be done in order to practice religion well. So you take up a little bit of sadhana, you implement a certain level of self-discipline, and then you back up that self-discipline with a little bit more knowledge. Which one has to be mute? The Zoom is unmute on this laptop and it's unmute from...
Both of them are unmuted.
Yes. Okay. I will be unmuting here and it's connected to the speaker so they can hear. Yeah. Okay. So a little self-discipline backed up by philosophy to understand how to practice that. The example, we were having this discussion just recently, if going to the gym is an example of wanting to practice this little bit of self-discipline, don't we know that we have to take it little by little? You can't suddenly be an Olympic athlete on day one. You have to start slow. Whether it's making a sankalpa to go to the gym 3 times a week, showing up is the first step. But then when you are practicing those self-disciplines, mentally we have to back it up with enthusiasm and willpower. Meaning, why am I going to the gym? What is this for? What do I hope to achieve? Why is going to the gym worth it to suffer through the pain? That's the key there. Is it worth it enough for me to overcome my comfort zones? So baby steps along the way. Then after I get into the baby step habits, I have to amplify. I can't, sit and be satisfied. If my goal is to be an Olympic athlete, I can't be satisfied with doing half an hour treadmill 3 days a week. That and this, it's not going to work. I have to start here, but I do have to keep going. Now, every time I take a step further and intensify, I have to back it up with that mental fortitude, mental clarity, mental conviction. So now think about the mental state that an Olympic athlete is when they're training the year before the Olympics. Are they not coached day in and day out? They start developing a mental fortitude that I am going to become an Olympic athlete. This is who I am now. It's no longer a sadhana, it is an identity. They come to that point. So we see that kind of progression even in simple day-to-day practices. So like that, this point of this exercise was, can we identify what are the baby steps? Sometimes we take up japa and we go all in full enthusiasm, not understanding the mechanics or the why. We practice it for about hardly a couple of weeks and then say nothing's happening. Well, what did you expect? You don't know why you're doing it. So, like that, I wanted to take up the different topics and see if we can break it down. By doing this, we can also understand how we can make it more achievable for ourselves. And when we are teaching this in our classrooms, how do we make it achievable and tangible for the students who are just now getting started in becoming a Hindu practitioner? So that's the multi-dual purpose of going through this exercise. So with that, I will hand it off to Chitrakoot. Let me just talk to them specifically. Now in Chitrakoot's side, do we have, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down for these questions. Do we have different pairs of teachers taking up different topics? Yes?
We did japa and karma yoga.
Okay. Can I have the japa group come up? Come to the camera. Give me a second. Don't feel shy. Be confident. And what I will do, I just have to turn off this mic for a second because that feedback is coming from this mic. I'll turn this off and then I will unmute and turn on the speaker, okay? So give me a second. And all right. Nope, there's still. All right.
All right.
Are you still able to hear me on the Chitrakoot side? Yes? All right. So I was able to capture a little bit of this, and maybe I'll help the idea of japa a little bit further along. So the good structure. You have the middle school student. You have the middle school student who can continue practicing the practice of namasmarana that we do during assembly, right? But the reason, and also focusing on the breath, both have to be correlated. This is something a middle schooler can do. The reasoning behind it would be then to quiet the mind, to reduce the number of thoughts, and as she mentioned real quick at the end, to become more effective in whatever we're about to start. So when the students are asking, I am stressed, how do I calm down? How do I stay focused and do better at school, do better in whatever I'm trying to achieve? You can give that reasoning saying this sadhana will help you for that. So you come to a full circle, the practice plus the reasoning plus their application. That was a good strategy there. Then to enhance that a little bit, and I like the fact that you brought up meditation. Yes, it is in fact a very subtle practice that we're not quite yet ready. If we remember, Grahastha Ashrama is when we are performing karma yoga to its fullest extent. That is the purpose of that ashrama. So there we're trying to develop chitta shuddhi, purity of the mind, pure from the sense of ego. So that is why we have to learn to serve our family, serve our in-laws, serve society, earn as much as we can so that we can give. That becomes part of that responsibility. It is meant to purify. So here, taking up more seriously the japa mala, what would be the difference between a middle schooler versus a grahastha? Middle schooler can use it often when their focus is on, I want to achieve something, and for that I'm going to do japa. Whereas their understanding as a grahastha evolves a little bit more. That it is in preparation for meditation. It is for the purity of my mind that I'm now taking up this japa mala. Something a little bit bigger. You've almost reversed it, haven't you? That the achievements of the world is for my mental purity. Whereas for a middle schooler, to achieve that, I need mental purity. It's almost like flip-flopping what the goal is. It's okay. As long as we're learning to do it in the context and capacity, you can't ask a middle schooler to become egoless. You know, it pulls out all the drive from them. If they're wanting to achieve and earn and find a place in life, they have to be driven by that rajas. So let that meditation, that japa become an aid in that mentality. But as we now have graduated and now adults dealing with responsibilities, our attitude has changed. How can I better myself in my level of service? Japa then becomes a bigger priority. Now, I appreciate that you got a little nervous in trying to answer brahmacharya, but now we're looking, if brahmacharya was a difficult idea to think about, let's think about someone who is in the state of nididhyasanam, who has renounced the world. So this is someone who has finished brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, and now is in the sannyasi ashram. What is their main focus? It is that meditation itself. Now sannyasa, at that point we say, I'm pulling all of this information from Sadhana Panchakam. Even at the end of vanaprastha, they say, give up all rites and rituals at this point. Whatever it was supposed to do for you, it has done and is completed. You have attained chitta shuddhi and you have also attained chitta ekagrataha. So what are we supposed to do now? In Sadhana Panchakam, it says, Brahmaikakshara martyatam. Brahma akshara, remember and meditate upon that. So the japa slowly shifts from Om Namah Shivaya or Ishtadevata japa to Omkara japa. So I will supplement that saying this is now Omkara japa. And what is the purpose of this Omkara japa? It is to uproot my very identity. I am that Om. I am not this ego to facilitate that abhyasa, that sthita, that stability in that idea. You can take up Omkara Upasana. See, now I'm changing japa to Upasana. It's still a practice. Omkara Upasana to realign my identity. Does this help? At least in that last one, this shift in what I'm focusing on becomes saguna to nirguna. So it is still the same act of japa, but do we see how it slowly evolves as our practice and advancement also evolves? Yeah? So far so good. Any questions either from Chitrakoot side or Saket side? Do we have any questions? Yes, there is one question here.
So my question is, when as young kids we've not achieved what we should have, that is quietening the mind at that level, then adults, japa will not help even at that point in time. So how do we, let's say like me as a full functioning adult wants to start, how do I do it?
Start here. Be a middle schooler. Because see, the point was the idea of me putting in middle schooler versus grahastha versus that is to help you imagine this person and what their sadhana will look like. But the whole point is baby steps. Wherever you are, start from the beginning and slowly work. So at that point, you can say, I am no better than a middle schooler. Let me start here, a level of acceptance. If I don't have control, then let me at least do that. Before I start my work, before I start my day, before I start cooking, may I chant Bhagwan's name just for a couple minutes and then get into that work. Then when that practice becomes more and more important and we see that it is helping me stay calm in all of my work that I'm trying to achieve, then I can graduate to the next one. So this was just for me to help you see the one who wants to practice. But honestly, I will change this and say this is step 1, step 2, and step 3. That was the idea. Did that answer your question? Okay. From Chitrakoot side, give me a thumbs up if there's a question on that side. Or a thumbs down if there are no questions. Thumbs down. Okay, cool. So there was one other pair of teachers on that side who wants to present the next one. Was it karma? Did I get that? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up. Okay, so may I have the teachers that want to present on karma to come up next? Give me a second. Let me flip the board around and make sure Mike's situation is also good. So I will turn off this.
prayer to help them with focusing again on any of these things. The philosophy part of the Karma Yoga. So I think to help them practice better. Works towards excelling in any of the things that they have picked up, and it means that that's the process actually towards it. And not focus on the results, but towards excelling themselves each day and then. And for parents, first thing we thought, all the same things apply to them also, but they have the added responsibility of leading by example to especially the kids and the others around them. So once, since they are at the position where they are being looked up to, so they should lead by example and follow all these principles. And what else? For so, for them, our part for higher seeker is staying, staying on the path of being a seeker, and not become proud of whatever achievements they have so far reached. I think that's it.
All right, Hariom, can you hear me well on that side again? We're good? Okay, cool. So, good. This was a good attempt. This is another one. Two main things is effort. Put in your best effort. Because whenever we think of selfless service, do not, give up your ego. We think of giving up desires. Then kids at that age will be like, then why the heck should I work? Here, we're wanting to replace one motivation with something else so that the enthusiasm remains. That's the key. We want to replace selfish desires with selfless desires so that motivation may never diminish. So doing our best to better ourselves is a good way of putting it. May that enthusiasm never wane. And you also said, keep focus on developing new skills. And that attitude of I always want to better myself based on the skill. The most important aspect you mentioned was the results. Results like school credit. Results like, is it just for my resume? That becomes a transaction. Yes, it's necessary. Yes, when the college application asks for those hours, record it, but your motivation should not be because of just the resume. So now when we come to your philosophy side, when you said don't just focus on the resume, focus on the value that you are developing, compassion. What are values or emotions you are developing when practicing selfless service? And when serving, does that excellence develop? These are good ways of emphasizing how can you practice Karma Yoga. I'll give you one example. Have you ever heard these students get up on stage and start giving speeches, especially around graduation and what they learned in Bal Vihar? I learned that we have to have compassion. We learn to have self-control. It's like mechanical reading on the paper. And when, especially graduation after 12th grade, they're like, we want to learn to serve the world in such a way that it is embettering others. And they write these grand speeches, but it's like, dude, what have you actually done? Where does it speak from within? It speaks from ChatGPT and not you. I can tell. So with that, we can hear it in their voice. Do they actually have experience in compassion? Do they actually have experience in serving others? Have they gone through that? So I'm now flipping to parents' perspective here. Are you giving students the opportunities to get out there and actually serve? Are you pushing them in uncomfortable situations where they have to learn something new? Are you providing those opportunities as parents? Or are you sheltering them out of love? I'm not criticizing. Out of love, I know you're sheltering them. Stop doing this, go study. Stop doing this, go study. My A, where is that? Are we helping them become well-rounded so that as soon as they step out of your house, are they equipped to handle themselves? So that will automatically shift into grahastha ashrama at this point. Selfless service, although you said it's the same, it changes a little bit. You are now having more specific altars upon which you are doing karma yoga. So the comment I just made here now, the practice of serving your children. This is what I meant about specificity. How does that practice actually change? Here it was for themselves, it is for new skills and becoming well-rounded. That's where their focus is. But after you've finished becoming a student and you've entered into the bigger world, that world is now becoming your source of selfless service. So, serving your children becomes the first thing. Am I doing enough for them that they can fulfill what they were supposed to do? Second thing is serving society. Not take more than what you give. I flipped that around. In the pledge, how does it go? Give more than what you take. This is the ashrama in which you are earning. Actually, in fact, this is the only ashrama that you're earning. Brahmacharyas don't earn. Vanaprasthas have retired. Sannyasis definitely don't earn. This is the only one that earns money. Therefore, having the right karma yogic attitude behind earning also has to become really important. So earn and serve. Because if we think about it, where are we earning? You go out into the world, you go into a company that's doing something for that functioning of that society. You're putting out a product, you're selling a product, you're making a system, you're a teacher, you're a doctor. There is some nook and corner or niche that you are plugged into as your source of income. So you're earning from society. Does it also not mean now we have to give to that same society? This becomes a more practical application of karma yoga. Am I managing my wealth in such a way that it remains balanced? Then you said leading by example. I really appreciate this philosophy that you brought up here, because this is that has children in mind, right? They are looking up to you. This is I was just seeing this the other day. It's so funny that you mentioned this. I think chapter 3, verse 24, 25, somewhere around there. He's like, Arjuna, I know you don't understand the highest philosophy, that the self is indestructible. You cannot kill people, and people cannot kill you. You may not be ready to appreciate that just now. At the very least, be able to lead by example. And then he quotes himself, or he references himself, Bhagwan Krishna as an avatara who is all-knowing. He says, even I come and set the example for the world, because if I don't, the world will fall apart. So remember, now I'm tying into the idea 2 chapters ago. We maintain harmony and poise when we remember the grand scheme of things. Grahastha ashrama is the pinnacle of being plugged into something bigger than yourself. Your family is there, society is there, and therefore you have tons of people watching you. So be the example. So I really appreciate at least this philosophy to back up that, right? Then again here, Shuddhi, Chitta Shuddhi becomes the main important point. Shuddhi. Now, I also really appreciate the answer you gave for higher advanced sadhakas as well. You have, right on the nail of the head, have mentioned the problem of pride. Very much an important occurrence that happens here. When someone advances long enough, I have developed, I am an advanced seeker, I know a lot, I have done shravanam, I have done mananam, I am now in the seat of meditation. reaching for the highest self. Who tends to pop up here? I. So even in this way, karma yoga comes back as an aid to helping that pride. Here, we wanted, if there were reasons now, the philosophy was lacking in this. Here, I would say gratitude and the ego check. I honestly keep remembering Swamiji in this case, because once we have learned something and we have seen ourselves grow, we have to remember that it is through Guru Kripa, Shastra Kripa, and Bhagwan's Kripa that I've been given this opportunity to come this far. So I'm paying attention to time. Sorry, thank you. So I'll wrap up here, maybe Saket that we can present next week when we come. But last thing here is, having received all of that kripa, may I never allow the opportunity for this ego to come up. So if you think about our roles, or Swamijis that are in Chinmay Mission, they take on teaching hundreds of kids. They take on teaching hundreds of parents. Anytime before or after being on the phone, especially during COVID, Swamiji used to say that he would have hundreds of families calling him for counseling. There is not a single moment that belongs to me anymore. My life and every single breath is meant for others. What you need, I will provide. This is the best I can do for all that has been given to me. It completely expands. Now we're not even taking from society. We're not even responsible for other people, but it is my duty to serve anyways in 24 hours, 7 days a week. Every breath I have has to be in that service. This is the Guru Dakshina that we offer. May I live up to that. May this pride never come up ever again. So I hope these two examples were really good. And Saket, now that you got a glimpse of this, I know there was one. You still have one more week now. If you want, before you leave, right here, find someone else in this room. Pair up. Go back to these slides that are available in the WhatsApp group. Pick a different topic other than japa and karma. One group take up speech so that you can get credit for work you've done today, but other groups pick the other topics, and we'll see your presentation next week. Yeah? All right. Thank you so much on Chitrakoot side as well. We'll do a quick closing prayers. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.